Let's begin the story from where it started. At the beginning of the week, the minority in parliament held a press conference addressed by its indefatigable leader, Alexander Afenyo, Markin, member of parliament for Futu, and it was about Goldbod. Here's just a snapshot of what he said. This part is in Akan. The leader addressed both in English and in Akan. We've selected this part just for you to get the story. This is what he said.
I am a force. Sika, what do I say? 22 billion. Mama Gyamfi who said, Mawaka.
We can do it after he says one test.
Nobody more.
Okay.
Ekakasia na mabo Ghana, 22 billion cedis. Na ya minority dia oma tro amwa gia tum na ya kan wase. Na mo bedi din atem. Na Afenyo Markin say, no pon kromati say, na no say asati say. And you will be social media didn't attempt and a best sandia. I am a fuatro. Yaba and Yanim says Sebi, a binum dear, or Motecha Masrono, a yadoko docontia, the IMF reporting by. Into your sermons and trophy. Muasudieke sie. And yen some binum backing as I said, Mutienesa. A binum can't tro. Omuchan trosso, no my as on woman I cannot crack. Who to gold? Who dija? Who wakoboka? Who's it? Kana wabono? Who the akotro will be buku? Now, what the idea what tona? Is he can about what you when you faso into what the Akana Yaoka? Now, what to be that? We be a company, me, company bakuna, yet this staff salary ato, and a company bakosuni yet this sales akoto. Into your buyers, you may yan faso. Now, a Kana boy and the cost of sales in a way. Inti yes, Samu. Atem di dieni die en shaky. But the cruel woman say so far say obi akoye juman po baby. Na sende iyoko for tata no. Iyoko for tata binum. Attorney General ye press conference osio. Obimpo oye ayaban juma eka 5 million cedis 3 million cedis 10 million cedis yetumi frɛ wo iyoko na wakoda ho na yese fa ejapade a asumbo for branch amobile na ne Goldbod for be de abeye hu ti o me ba o we de so 22 billion losses here, almost Goldbod aboke. And then who bill? Ezika ben na yedi bedi bill. Oh, we as said yet here. Yes, what we are phone sa. Now wash your one sa. We are see aye wono. Say to me ba unsem. Na say wo de tata obia. Hweniye.
So that was the statement, a snapshot of what the minority leader said. Now, this is what Goldbod have put up, and let's go through it. It says Goldbod's own financial performance. So it's here, audited surplus. Goldbod's 2025 audited financial statements show an operational surplus of 907 million and an overall surplus of over 5.4 billion, directly refuting claims of losses. So here, Goldbod said that they have obtained a surplus of 5.2 billion, so that the conversation that they have lost money from their statement, they say is not correct. Let's move on. And they said there were no adverse findings by the Auditor General. It says the Auditor General had unhindered access to all documents and raised no adverse audit findings against Goldbod. Number 3, role of BOG's DGPP losses. Not responsible for BOG losses. So they said Goldbod is not responsible for losses that the Bank of Ghana has made. It continues here. Sammy Gyamfi argues that the IMF report does not blame Goldbod for the 1.7 billion DGPP loss. He challenges Afenyo Markin to point to where it does. So here he's saying that the IMF does not blame Goldbod for it. Number 4, limited role as buying agent. Goldbod, he says, and his predecessor, PMMC, acted strictly as a buying agent under the DGPP, with no role in selling gold, setting prices, or signing off-take agreements, losses from sales cannot be blamed on the buyer, he says. Number 5, you have to remember that it says losses cannot be blamed on the buyer. Goldbod is a buyer, they don't sell. So if somebody sold and made losses, that cannot be Goldbod. And he says that IMF did not even say it's Goldbod. Number 5, pre-existing losses. The Bank of Ghana, the document says, recorded a $400 million loss under the DGPP in 2024, even before Goldbod ever existed. They make that point as well. We don't know what to do with it, but they want to remind us that there was a loss already. Policy design. He says, Sammy Gyamfi argues that the DGPP was not deliberately designed as an FX crisis intervention. What did I read? Sammy Gyamfi argues that the DGPP was deliberately designed as an FX crisis intervention rather than a profit-making program. The reported losses, he says, largely reflect exchange rate valuation, transnational effects associated with the program's design, and scaling up rather than mismanagement. Okay, so here he seems to say that there could be losses, but they are because of exchange rate valuation, transnational effects associated with the program's design, and scaling up rather than mismanagement. 7, he says, direct counterattack against Alex Markin. Sammy Gyamfi challenges Alexander Markin, the minority leader, to substantiate his claims in Parliament and emphasize that the allegations are a calculated smear campaign. And then, during the press conference, Sammy Gyamfi spoke extempo and he spoke to journalists. According to those who saw it, it was reported, and I've seen in public media people commenting about it. I read Kojo Ponkruma, for instance, commenting about Sammy Gyamfi, what they call personal attacks on Alex Markin. It shouldn't have been. I've seen Manasseh Azuri fighting with Opon Nkrumah that this is not the first time anybody has been personally attacked and that they are cherry picking, etc., etc. I've seen all that. But then Nilante van der Poel comes up. He is the aspiring chairman of the National Democratic Congress, former member of parliament for the Dio, former minister for sports, I should say, and also the former national drip coordinator. This is what he told City FM when he was asked about the tempo of the press conference on the Government Accountability Forum.
Conduct in communicating some of these things. But yesterday we also saw the chief executive of the Goldbod, and some have opined that the tone, even the minority leader later came out to say, right, and the choice of words, right, using words like brutal, using words like
drinking bar,
you know, the fusions of all manner of words were used. Now the point is that you are a senior
platform at the presidency, right?
Fair enough. You are a senior person in the governance architecture. You've served in parliament, you've been minister. Are those words you would use, for example, if you were communicating on a government position?
Well, you see, everyone has a style. Everyone has a style. And you are asking me.
Has a style, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Everyone has a style.
Are those words you use?
No, I wouldn't use those words. I wouldn't use those words.
Fair enough.
But you see, by my communication background, I wouldn't want the person, because you are not speaking to only that person. You are speaking to many other people. So that one, I will sit here and apologize on behalf of Sammy Gyamfi, even if he has not done that. I will do that because it's my boy. Sammy. It takes me as a senior person, just as you do. And I would say, he's not a communicator. He's not a communications expert like me. He hasn't done communication. I have done communication. And I know that by register, when you're talking, you are not talking to one person, you are talking to general number of people.
Nilante van der Poel. And check this out. NDC coordinators. Obviously, Mr. van der Poel is not fit to be NDC chairman. I'm totally shocked at this. I mean, why are they doing that? Nilante, since he spoke, came up for wide applause across the political divide. And now his people are telling him that you want to be our chairman, blah, blah, blah. We'll come to that conversation another day. We'll come to that. We just wanted to draw your attention to it. Let's get to where we start the interview. Let's go to the minority leader statement. So after Sammy Gyamfi's statement, Alex Markin and the minority responded as follows. On Tuesday, 18th August 2026, the minority in Parliament addressed the press conference on the financial and operational performance of the Ghana Gold Board and on reported losses under the domestic gold purchase program. Today, Wednesday, 19th August 2026, Government, acting through the Goldbod, responded at the Government Accountability Series. The minority has considered the full text of the response and states as follows. 1. That the Goldbod statement this morning confirms more than it refutes the fact. First, the loss is admitted. The chief executive does not dispute the IMF's finding that there is a loss of 1.7 billion or 22 billion, $1.7 billion US dollars or 22 billion Ghana cedis under the domestic gold purchase program in 2025. He disputes only who should be blamed. This is public money, whichever state's balance sheet it sits on. Second, the fee arithmetic is now on the record. The chief executive tells us that the Goldbod accounted for 133 billion cedis in advances in 2025, and that it was paid an assay fee of 0.258% and a service fee of 0.5%. On those figures, the Goldbod earned in the region of 1 billion Ghana cedis in fees from the program. He also tells us that the Goldbod posted an operational surplus of 907 million. The plain implication of his own numbers is that the operational surplus he is celebrating is smaller than the fee income he collected from a program that lost the state 22 billion Ghana cedis. Strip out the agency fees and there is no operational surplus to speak of. That is the point he did not address, and it is the point he must now address. Third, referring to Sammy Gyamfi, they say he cannot claim the upside and disown the downside. The same statement credits the scaling up of the domestic gold purchase program with a 41% cedi appreciation, the rise in the reserves from 8.9 billion to 13 billion, and the fall in inflation. And the Goldbod has been foremost in taking public credit for those outcomes. An institution that claims authorship of the benefits cannot describe itself as a passive agent when the costs are counted. The funding position keeps shifting. By the chief executive's own account, responsibility for the program implementation cost moved from the Bank of Ghana to the Ministry of Finance in July 2026. And from August 2026, the Goldbod is seeking to raise funds independently. 3 funding arrangements in 6 months is not a settled model. We view this with curious eyes. The 22 billion Ghana cedi losses as reported by the IMF's 6th country report, numbered 26/213, issued in August 2024, amounts to a financial loss to the Republic. It must be counted for. Finally, on the tone of the press conference, they say the chief executive's reference to a brothel does not belong in a statement issued by a public officer accounting for public funds. Ghanaians asked for figures. They were given insults. The figures are still outstanding. And it's signed by Osahene Alexander Kwame Afenyo, Markin, who is the minority leader in Parliament. Now, at 5 minutes past 10 o'clock, permits me to go over now to the interview table where minority leader is seated and is ready to take your questions. Your statement seems to celebrate something, that the losses were confirmed. Tell us about that.
Well, let me read a portion of the IMF report we relied on rather in extenso to cover all the areas so that the public would know that the minority does its research and does not just blow hot air. Again, for those other media houses who would want to do fact check, I would plead with them to read the IMF report. Seek expert support in giving true meaning to it. Now, this is what...
First of all, who was the IMF writing to?
No, this is the report they've issued.
What is it for? The report is for...
No, the report is on Ghana. This IMF report, Ghana, selected issues.
So they publish on their website?
Yes. Okay. This is selected issues, dated August 26th, that they served as a copy as a minority.
Okay.
Right. So This is what it says. Where I'm quoting, quote, in 2025, and this is paragraph 13, page 10 of the report. Quote, in 2025, the significant scaling up of the DGPP, that's a domestic gold purchase program, operations, led to losses of over $1.7 billion, which is 1.5% of GDP, almost entirely related to the gold for reserves dowry purchases. This amounted to a loss of 17% of the value of gold sold by BOG. Losses accrued on gold trade are a combination of service and asset fees paid to Goldbod, discount on gold sold to off-takers, and most importantly, exchange rate losses from spread between Forex Bureau rate paid to purchase gold and city reference rate used for BOG accounting, into bracket C figure 7. Now, it goes on to say, survey data suggests that Ghanaian artisanal gold mining, that ASGM, prices are among the highest in the region. These accounting losses partly reflect valuation effects rather than economic costs, but they still weaken the BOG balance sheet and imply transfer to recipient of FX at reference rate. I will stop there. Now, let me give you the breakdown. One, the government has given an impression that there is always an economic cost to implementing a policy. I agree that there is always an economic cost. The Goldbod itself, in responding to us, argued that their activities have helped stabilize the city. That is what they said.
Yeah.
That they've sold so much gold and that has helped stabilize the city. Now, by that expression, they are suggesting that Ghanaians should forget about the costs and look at the benefits. But what the IMF is saying, that upon analysis of the whole transaction, the whole policy, the gaps they find, the loopholes, the weakness in the policy itself, okay, makes them conclude that the losses are as a result of some other inefficiencies.
They mentioned some of
It's
them.
there. Yes, that's the list they provided.
Okay, take us through it.
Oh, again, right. So they said exchange rate losses from the spread between Forex Bureau rate paid to purchase gold and the city reference rate used for BOG accounting.
What problem is that?
What they are basically,
So you
the
buy
analysis,
from, you take the money from BOG in cedis,
right?
Then you buy dollar rates from the gold people,
and then when they
say it's very expensive in the
right.
Okay, go on.
So they are saying that these accounting losses partly reflect valuation effect rather than economic costs. I just want to stay there and make some explanation. You see, they've always argued that there's always an economic cost, which I say I concede. That in implementing any policy,
like free SHS,
you would incur some cost. But the IMF is indicting that, questioning that position, is indicting them by saying that these losses are not as a result of the economic cost that you want Ghanaians to believe that yes, you are implementing but at a cost. They are rather identifying that in the value chain of the transaction, certain challenges that you yourself, by way of your policy, you could not put in place to help you manage the whole program. The next point, the argument of the Goldbod chief executive is to the effect that these losses have nothing to do with Goldbod.
Yes, he makes that point.
Right. And that it's entirely the responsibility of Bank of Ghana. I would address both. One, it is factually inaccurate to argue that the losses are not attributable to Goldbod. Why do I say so? I draw my fortification from the report. In the report, the IMF says that losses accrued on gold trades are a combination of service and asset fees paid to Goldbod.
So the losses are at that level because some money was paid to Goldbod for asset fees.
This $1.7 billion amount is the losses that IMF identified in their audits, in their report, when the BOG itself opened its books. You know, these...
So it's like an audit they are doing?
Yes, virtually. And before they came out with their final report, they issued a draft report, which the government itself did not challenge. They don't just get up and issue this final report. So, on point 1, the argument that the losses as registered in BOG books have nothing to do with Goldbod is inaccurate. That is not correct. Because the report itself is stating that these losses are as a result of the Goldbod asset fees paid to them. They paid
is that
it to
not
them.
a regular part of the business, paying the asset fees to the Goldbod person?
That is not the argument. We, in our press statement, question the policy. All right? You see, sometimes maybe people listen to social media and then they don't get the exact facts. So they get emotional and start attacking. The minority's position in response to this was to the effect that government gold for reserve policy has failed. 2, their initial argument that there is always an economic cost to implementing policy is neither here nor there because the loopholes, the inherent challenges in the implementation of the policy itself, okay, leading to this report that IMF says that, look, you have incurred certain losses and these losses are not attributable to economic costs. It was your failure in policy. And we said that yes, although these losses are in the books of Bank of Ghana, the IMF itself is saying, yes, we've identified the losses in the books of Bank of Ghana because Bank of Ghana, they audited. But the losses are as a result of the Goldbod activities and operations.
Like paying asset fees.
Of course. And then the exchange rate losses.
Yeah.
Right. It is not us.
Again, let me take you back.
Who are saying that?
Let me take you back. So when
but
we
these
say
are
losses,
the facts.
When we say losses from a report like that, do we mean the IMF identified X amount of money went into the Goldbod, the domestic purchase program, and X amount of money came out, and the difference is 1.7 billion? Is that what it means?
They have summarized that in effect, the trading activity in the whole transaction value chain, and they've listed all the fees and charges,
yes, I get
all of it combined to be.
But their starting point is a certain amount of money that was committed to this. Is that not their starting point?
No, that's not what they've said. They have rather given you a total amount of losses incurred, which amounted to $1.7 billion, equivalent of 22 billion.
What are they subtracting from to get the losses?
Obviously, if they look at your transaction.
So they see how much money you put in it.
And yes.
And how much money you got out of it. And the difference is
what the losses that they have.
Okay, correct. I get that. So there's a clear loss on, you took 100 cedis into this project. You are bringing back 70 cedis. So there's a 30 cedi loss. Now, that loss, you are saying that as minority, you concede that a policy may have losses. But this particular loss, you are saying that has been attributed to, I don't think dereliction of duty, but attributed to certain things that were not.
It's policy failure.
Policy failure.
Because
these losses are attributed largely to policy failure.
Not largely. If you say largely, it means that some.
Yeah, because you are conceding that there will be some
attributable losses to policy failure.
Okay, and they are pointing to those places.
Yes. So let's read it again.
All right,
because sometimes
now we can go.
Right. So let's read it again. These accounting losses partly reflect valuation effect rather than economic costs. Now let me take you back.
Let's interrogate that valuation effect rather than.
Yes. Okay. So it's that line is giving effect to the explanatory notes that have been that precedes it.
Yeah.
So I will go back to the point again. It says, in 2025, the significant scaling up of the domestic gold purchase operations led to losses of over $1.7 billion, equivalent of 1.5% of GDP, almost entirely related to the gold for reserve purchases. All right? This amounted to a loss of 17% of the value of the gold sold by BOG. Then it goes further. Losses accrued on gold trades are a combination of service and asset fees paid to Goldbod. Let me stop there. And
Goldbod has been mentioned.
It's there. It's not me.
As being directly responsible for some part of the loss.
With respect, Paul, it is not a minority. It is not Afenyo Markin. It's not Afenyo Markin targeting somebody. It is not Afenyo Markin with respect who is manufacturing a story. I am not a member of the IMF. I am not a member of government. And I wasn't there when all these things were being prepared. And the IMF relied on data given it. Sometimes people also get it wrong. They say, oh, these multilateral institutions, they sit somewhere and they write their own report. No. They met them when they come to do their audit. It is the report, the data that our own source supplies them, that they analyze and come out with their report. 2, when they are done with the report, they don't just issue it. They meet with government officials. They met with them. And then, they discuss the drafts. Where the government has disagreement, government will say, no, this portion will disagree with you. So this report is a final product of consensus reached between the IMF and the government.
So this has not come as a surprise to either Bank of Ghana or Ministry of Finance.
Nobody should say that the minority is trying to make up a case. You see, you cannot be personal about this. It is a policy failure. And for us as opposition, we must relate this. Once the IMF says that these losses are attributable to the Goldbod operations and activities, we put out the fact. Now, granted without admitting, or let's say the losses are in the books of Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
So Goldbod itself admit that these are losses, but it is not in their books.
They said they don't sell.
With respect, regardless, there are losses.
Yes.
All right? It's a financial loss to the states. You've not challenged it. What's the difference? I argue the alter ego principle. The trading activity, which was done by Bank of Goldbod, was financed by Bank of Ghana. You nominated them as your agent.
Who nominated who?
The Goldbod.
Nominated
in this context.
Yeah.
BOG was their agent.
To sell.
Of course.
Okay.
And then in the end, because the funds came from them, the accounting is recorded in their books. You say that it has nothing to do with you. But you are benefiting from the gains, and you say that you are surplus. And you are citing it in your audited account to tell the public that, oh, look at my audited account, it is clean. That's not the way it works. It's a two-way traffic. And that is why the IMA was clear that, yes, they identified the losses in the books of BOG, but they realized that the losses were as a result of activities undertaken on behalf of Goldbod. So, Paul, let me give it a very simple explanation. Somebody going into your books, your bank account, and realizing that you have a negative balance, but realizes that you issued a check to Mr. A, and that payment out of your account into his account is a credit.
To him.
The Mr. A, you are B, you are A, the Mr. B. You issued a check. Your account is reflecting a negative balance, right? Mr. B has received money from you. It's in positive, correct?
Yeah.
If Mr. B says that, oh, as for me, look at me, I have 100,000 cedis. Mr. B should tell you where he got that money from. Is it a loan? If it's a loan, is it a free money? If it's free money, tell us. Then we do the accounting and know that the source of that money is this. Is that correct? Then we can have a complete picture. But what Goldbod is telling us is that don't ask me questions. We shouldn't ask them questions about the trading activities. All they are interested in is that, look, as for them, they register surplus. As to what happened to BOG, they don't want to know. That is not right.
Also, something like
in any event, they themselves originally said, oh, it appears the IMF did not even understand the transaction. That was the response of the Goldbod chief executive earlier, that questioned the IMF's understanding of the transactions. But if you had questions, it is not us that you direct the questions at. You direct the questions at the IMF. You get the point. So I don't understand all these.
Let me see whether another analogy will work before we go to the trading. 1 minute. Let me ask you, leader. So
why we shouldn't bring them in, and that why some people are even saying that, oh, the minority did not get it right. I'm sure those people have not read.
Let me do this analogy and see whether it fits with what you are saying. Maybe it's more simpler. So, like, Good Evening Ghana is Metro TV. So I go to Metro TV and I say, give me money, 10,000 cedis. I'm going to organize a program at British Council for Good Evening Ghana.
Correct.
I believe that people will attend the program. I'm charging 20 cedis. And if people attend the program, I'll get 20,000 cedis. I'll bring you back your 10,000. Then I go to the program and nothing happens. And I'm not able to pay Metro TV their 10,000. And then Metro TV has 10,000 losses. And then Metro TV say that this loss is because we financed Good Evening Ghana's program. And I say that, oh, it's not me. It's Metro TV who has lost the money.
But you are the beneficiary.
That's the kind of thing you are saying.
Exactly so.
Okay,
I mean,
so people can understand
by extension.
So why is the Bank of Ghana so quiet in all of this? And why didn't you mention the Bank of Ghana?
In our full press statement, we read the report. It is those state agencies, except that we only amplified the position of IMF that related it to the Goldbod. That is what IMF said. We said what the minority said was exactly what I have just read to you. IMF says that we have identified losses of $1.7 billion in the books of BOG. But these losses are attributable to Goldbod. Simpliciter. That's what we said. What else should we say? It's not a matter of you didn't mention this. You see?
So the Bank of Ghana does not only do Goldbod, they do many other things.
They were very specific.
Yeah, I get your point. I'm making a similar point, whether it's correct. Bank of Ghana does many things. They do Goldbod, they support Ministry of Finance, they support many things. IMF comes to audit them and identifies a loss and says that this your loss, it is the Goldbod activity.
Simply, that is plain language.
And then Goldbod says that it's not me, it's Bank of Ghana. I got a surplus. That's where we are.
So for us, if Goldbod has anything to say, it should direct it at IMF, not us. Because this is plain language. It's not it's not technical. The selected issues, the section 13 or paragraph 13 of the report, page 10, is in plain language. We did not manufacture it. It is not the minority that is introducing Goldbod here. So all the winding explanations by government and by the Goldbod is neither here nor there. We just lifted the report, and all along it is one simple statement we have made, that Goldbod has incurred these losses. It amounts to financial loss to the state. It is 1.9 billion USD, equivalent of 22 billion cedis, which we could have used to construct roads, build hospitals, schools, and even create fiscal space to employ more teachers and nurses. Now, we also came to that conclusion to disagree with government because the IMF went further to say that these losses cannot be considered as economic cost in the implementation of the policy. So now let's go back to the policy. What the IMF is saying that by the structure and design of the policy, these are the inherent weakness, okay, leading to these losses. If I were the Goldbod chief executive, I were government, I would rather commend the minority for being bold to amplify this, and rather in response say that, look, this was our first year of implementation. These are the weaknesses we identified, and we agree with the IMF. These are the steps we are taking to redeem the situation, but not attack. Now, if all is rosy, if the gold purchase program is doing well, why the reverse decisions? We know that the governor has made an announcement to the effect that they are no more going to finance this gold purchase program. That's what they have said.
They are pulling out from the policy.
Why did they pull out?
They have already announced the pull out.
Right.
So as we speak, they're out.
So, again, aren't we vindicated? And isn't IMF at least directing them to stay away from this, and haven't they publicly committed to that? Two, isn't Goldbod itself saying that they have entered into a new dispensation where they will now deal with, manage their own cash flow, forex? When they get their dollar in, they will do A, B, C, and D. We are not interested in what the cure. That one is a different matter. After a period, we will review and see whether or not you've been able to cure, and now the program is being implemented in a better way. But for now, what is under review is your year one of performance. Year one of performance is 2025. And those who audited you have come out with their verdict. The verdict is that you've incurred $22 billion CD losses, and that you cannot justify it with economic cost to policy implementation. So all the loud noise about the fact that, oh, you brought in so much forex and that has stabilized the CD and the economy is doing well, is not an argument that finds favor with the report before us. Because I'm sure government made all these arguments. But the bank at IMF, upon a holistic analysis of the entire transaction, identified that, look, you are paying so much charges here, there. These are identified weaknesses in the design of the policy. Now, let me also bring another important thing to your attention. When somewhere January, the minority read the interim report. You know, there was an interim report as of September, where the IMF initially talked about identifying $214 million. So when we met them, and then they brought it out.
You met
to us. Yeah, we met the IMF. It's a public knowledge. We published it. We put it out there in the news that we, the minority, met the IMF, and we asked questions. And indeed, this was confirmed to us at the time. Immediately they confirmed that to us. We put it out. And that is what resulted in our filing of a motion asking for a full hearing in this whole transaction so that there will be clarity. Now, you may recall that as soon as we held the press conference and pointed out the 15% fees being paid, there was an emergency joint board meeting between Goldbod and Bank of Ghana. And they immediately, in that board meeting, they reviewed the fees to 9%. And subsequently held another meeting and reduced the fees further. Paul, sometimes our colleagues opposite must be a bit tolerant, be fair, and give us some credit. If everything was okay with it, why did they review from 15% to 9%? I'm not here to quote individuals who are in government and have problem with this transaction. I won't do that. I will remain focused and deal with the issues. If they say we are making empty noise, we are blowing hot air, why did they further reduce the fees to 5% and now wait for the 2027 budget? What they are going to do is to say that they are now going to factor all these charges in the budget as cost to stay, so that bring an expenditure item on this matter. So instead of paying attention to the issue, they believe that going to the gutters is the way out. Paul, I want to say something by way of conclusion. J.H. Mensah, of blessed memory, he was minority leader in the second parliament. He came under severe attack from government, the NDC. I recall, I was at UCC, Kivas. One morning, there was graphic front page, banner headline, where Tony Edu described J.H. Mensah. The headline was that J.H. Waboda Mensah. And the man accepted and said, J.H. Maboda Mensah. All reported by graphic, front page. What the attack is not new to me. It doesn't move me. All right? My predecessor, majority leader, Che Mensah, came under attack several times. I understand that as a leader in parliament, I have an honors tax to do heavy lifting for the party. Raise the issues, get them out, and expect that in the process, there will be attempts to bruise me. It's part of the game. This Goldbod matter, when Kojo Oponkrumah led the first press conference, the chief executive went personal, attacked him on Joy FM morning show, news file. Later on TV3, he attacked him, said, oh, Kojo doesn't know accounting. Meanwhile, Kojo did BCom at UCC.
I know that.
BCom is accounting.
Very much so.
Second, Adbuna Osei Asare, a chartered accountant, a formidable politician, hard-working minister of state, now chair of public account. She was the first to raise this thing. And when she raised it, she also came under attack. Unprintable words were used to describe a person. Then I said no. And then our policy coordinating committee sat together, analyzed this whole thing and said, look, the caucus must state its position on this. I speak for the caucus. So if we raise it and somebody thinks that it is Afenyo market, that's okay. It is Afenyo market. I knew what was ahead of me the very day I took this position. So I'm not worried. I will stay focused. This is it. Government must account for the losses. Government must explain. Goldbod was the ultimate beneficiary of this and would remain at the doorstep of Goldbod and ask them questions. The losses are attributable to them. Again, we promise the people of Ghana that we will deal with this within the rules of parliament. Fortunately, the Goldbod chief executive says he is ready to come to parliament.
He said he's going to beg the new majority leader.
Don't worry. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. We have filed the necessary processes. We don't just blow hot air. My colleagues have filed the motion. We have today at 12 noon, Paul, we filed the motion. Motion signed by respected Kojo Oponkrumah, Chinubu Akodua, Jerry Shaib Ahmed, Vincent Asifua, Dr. Che Asamoah, and our ranking on finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. We have put forward our argument. All the documents are tied there too for Speaker who has the power of admissibility to determine admissibility. This is not different from the earlier one that we filed and same was voted.
What's the motion asking for?
It's asking for, maybe I should read the terms of the motion. That this Honorable House, pursuant to Article 103 of the 1992 Constitution, and Standing Orders 204, 212, 213, 262, and 263, is moved to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate the circumstances under which the 1.7 billion US losses was incurred in gold trade transactions between Goldbod and the Bank of Ghana for 2025, and the circumstances under which the Bank of Ghana declared the loss at 9 billion cedis for the year 2025. Then we have stated the accompanying
So you're asking for the speaker set up an ad hoc
so,
committee.
So since the chief executive has offered to come, I believe his party has heard him. We pray that the 189 majority will not stampede us.
Is that what happened the first time?
That is exactly what happened. They delayed, first of all, they delayed the motion for a long time. Each time we're going to take the motion, they will say they were not prepared. Eventually, after taking the motion, they whipped their numbers to vote against it. Fortunately, this time around, the chief executive says he would plead with his colleagues and the leader not to oppose. So it's good news for Democrats, isn't it?
It is.
So we will carry this motion eventually, I pray. An ad hoc committee set up. So all the parties in the value chain of this 22 billion losses as reported would now come. All right? We would invite the aggregators. Goldbod must bring all its books. I mean, because they said they are ready. BOG must come. We would invite those we have to invite and have a live coverage, because 222 billion is huge sum. It's not.
You don't just want the motion to succeed, so you have an ad hoc committee. You also want a live coverage.
No, but they have been calling for transparency.
Yes.
The live coverage of proceedings.
Who's going to permit that? Who's going to allow that? The speaker?
No. But it's in the interest of democracy.
I get that, but is it part of the motion to ask for a live coverage?
No, we don't need to. It's consequential. It's consequential. And with the level of public interest in this matter, we can't go into some corner bar and go and do this. There must be a live,
so Ghanaians can hear for themselves.
Can hear how much is being charged, who are the aggregators, how much went into them, the exchange rate losses, how much gold was shipped, who bought them, and all of that. BOG, the same data they gave to the IMF, they bring it before Parliament. Let's analyze everything. All right? If indeed, as they want us to believe, perhaps IMF did not do a good job, and IMF did not understand, and by extension, we also don't understand, let us do it. A 5-member committee, ad hoc committee, a 7-member ad hoc committee, or 9-member ad hoc committee. These are the discretion of the speaker, who will say that it is 9-member committee. Minority, by your numerical strength, bring 3 people or bring 4 people. Majority, bring 5 or whatever. They will have the highest numbers. Then, before the cameras, Chief Executive Goldbod comes to make his case. Aggregators come and make your case. The various institutions that are involved, how they sold it, bring your books and all of that. And then parliamentarians, as part of their oversight, would then have the opportunity to analyze the whole policy. And we can do our report. The people of Ghana can judge. At that point, we'll be able to come to a conclusion whether or not there were decisions that could have been taken to prevent these losses. Then we'll determine whether or not indeed the policy failure as concluded by the IMF is indeed true. For now, we are relying on these losses to make these demands. We would come to a fair conclusion after we have interrogated the matter in a very transparent manner. And Paul, we have the expertise as minority. Our side will sit down and select those who understand this. We have them, okay, to face the institutions of state as part of the accountability process and demand it. And when we're done, everybody will know who is telling the truth. But for now, I expect all commentators to be fair to the truth. This is the only thing we are relying on. Nothing else. They should also read what we have read. And if anywhere in the report they claim that Goldbod is not connected to the losses, they should tell us. This is our source document. We've not said anything else. Simplicity.
Your last question I'll be asking you after we hear from social media is, people said that at the press conference you also threatened Sammy Gyamfi about bail, and some people say that it was a joke. There's a fight on social media. Okay. I'll ask you that later. Hold it. Let me come to you, social media. Who should I start? What questions are they asking Alex Markin? Fatty first, yeah. Okay, Fatty.
All right. Thank you, Paul. So the comment section is going well. Can I says the BOG saga just defies every basic accounting principle, and I don't know the agreements that they had prior to their operations. This raises a question. Supposing Goldbod were pre-financed by a private bank to start purchasing gold, could Goldbod declare a surplus on its books before settling the seed capital used to fund its operations? Furthermore, would that private bank be required to write off the lent amount as loss in its own financial statement? General your comment says, Afenyo Markin is a whole institution leader. We salute you. Keep up the good work. And do not mind Sammy Gyamfi. He's on an excursion and not doing any serious work at the Goldbod. Yeah, February says, per the Goldbod Act, Goldbod is the institution to price, buy, and sell gold. So if the Bank of Ghana has a policy like gold for reserve through DGPP, and the Goldbod is trading the gold for the DGPP, then the loss of 22 billion Ghana cedis, an extension to Ghanaians to pay. So if the IMF has cautioned the government on the $1.7 billion loss to the DGPP to be relooked at and minimize the loss, then the government has also accepted the loss is outrageous. So Goldbod is the entity to be blamed. Master Planner Junior from Kentampa says the Goldbod CEO can keep insulting people and maintain the arrogant posture, but he should remember Emre Yendin Kaso. Chris Ada says, don't be surprised that the entire NDC and this government especially are raining insults on the minority leader, Afenyo Markin, because the Goldbod has become a conduit where most of their financial obligations to their supporters and allies are being met. So touching it will affect their plans and the money they are making from that sector. Nene Kabo says, I don't understand why Sammy Gyamfi and the NDC are attacking the honorable minority leader. Instead of dealing with the issues raised by the IMF, they are gradually turning the argument into personality contest, of which the Goldbod CEO now comes nowhere. And lastly, coming from Abdul, it says, if Sammy Gyamfi has answers to the issues raised by the IMF, then he should write to the IMF and challenge the accuracy of its statement. What do you have for us?
Thank you very much, Fatih. This is coming from Haj Z. He says, tell the minority leader that the good people of Ghana love him and we are okay with everything he does. Nana Boachi says, good evening, Paul. It is interesting, surprising, and certainly nauseating to see how the NDC is shaking and has activated all the noisy arsenals to defend Sammy Gyamfi. Honorable Afenyo Markin, keep pressing them. We are behind you. Eric Kebwedi says, Honorable, God bless you. You've said it all. Ngozi Ikechukwu says, good evening, Mr. Paul. Please tell Osahene that we love him and we like what he is doing. He should continue to do what he is doing and then help bring the NPP back to power. General E.O. Coleman says, Honorable Afenyo Markin is a whole institution, a leader. We salute you. Keep up the good work and do not mind Sammy Gyamfi. He is on an excursion and not doing anything serious to work at Goldbod. When your policy strategy is weak, the IMF reports will always expose you. Over to you, Ella.
Thank you. All right. So Toby says, one shot fired and NDC is taking cover. They haven't seen anything yet. Yafrabi says, if Goldbod has noticed the 22 million Ghana cedis loss of DGPP contains about 80% of the variation of the exchange rates, why is Goldbod not competing with any entity to price, buy and sell gold, and also fighting smuggling but pricing trading gold for Bank of Ghana DGPP? Would have generated 22 million Ghana cedis loss. In addition, why is the discount on the DGPP gold for off-takers part of the 22 million Ghana cedis loss, but Goldbod's own discount to off-takers for the dollars for commercial banks and Bank of Ghana to support forex market intervention not generating loss? what Gold Coast is saying makes absolutely no sense. Yao says, the interesting news is that this Galamsey NDC government is already on their way out of power come 2028, God willing. And every single deal of the corrupt Galamsey Goldbod government will be probed in a manner that even the president and Ibrahim Mahama will have to have questions to answer for. God save Ghana. Yao Marvin in Kwesi Intinim. Greetings to Honorable Bonzoke. Also from Mohammed, he says, why is Sebi Gyamfi not talking about Galamsey when that is all he preached about? Lastly, Nanayao says, I'm surprised to hear that the Goldbod's name is in the report because all the media houses are not doing any research. They are just taking what the government appointees come to say on their platforms. This IMF report is available. Why is the media quiet? Thank you very much, Paul, for this enlightenment and this interview. Back to you, Paul.
Wow. Okay. Messages to one from lawyer Edie says that NDC appears determined to tear down our vulnerable leader. Lawyer Edie is an MPP member. Our vulnerable leader Osahene Afenyo Markin. We must rally firmly and stoically behind him. He says this is not time for equivocation. The party, the MPP, must do more, much more, to defend its leaders, protect its institutional integrity, and ensure that no one is allowed to weaken the very structures upon which our collective strength is based. Everyone has now seen that the MPP loves Ghana more, relating to this Goldbod transaction. Okay, somebody is sending me text. He says, please urgently look at this. Nilante has been made to apologize. Okay, that's another conversation. Dr. Daniels, thank you very much for watching. The Honorable Minority Leader, let me come to or you have something
Yes,
to say?
I have some further explanation on something. You see, again, I noticed that in the submission of the Goldbod Chief Executive, he argued that there are other players in the domestic gold purchase program. That can't be true. The reason is very simple. In the legislation establishing Goldbod, the law conferred upon it a complete monopoly, exclusivity in the purchase of artisanal gold.
Yeah.
So it is both a buyer and a regulator. So the law conferred upon it the power to regulate the entire sector
And automatically buy all.
and also to buy all. So if you argue that there are other players, it can't be true.
He said that in his press conference.
Yes, and this is actually captured. If you read the Bank of Ghana report, it says survey data suggests that Ghanaian ASGM, that's artisanal gold mining prices, are among the highest in the region.
Yeah.
So they are telling us that be careful. Our artisanal gold, in other words, even gold that is bought from Galamsey, there's another argument. We have said that the gold purchase program itself and the way Goldbod was structured by law allowed for more Galamsey activities. This has been confirmed by the TUC, Organized Labor, in their 2025 May Day submission. The Secretary General boldly told the nation that since the assumption of the new government, NDC, Galamsey activities have gone up. Graphic Corporation, Graphic, on its front page last week, also echoed the extent to which Galamsey was destroying our environment. Several other studies have come out with alarming figures to suggest that Galamsey activities have scaled up. And we have contended as minority that the way the Goldbod activities have been structured, where no distinction is made between regularly mined artisanal gold and Galamsey gold, allows for a complete, increase in the Galamsey activity, such that Goldbod appears to be desperate for gold. You give money to aggregators, the aggregators get into the forest, get into the bush, get to the riverside, all they demand, we want gold. The aggregators do not come and tell Goldbod that Goldbod, we got this from galamseyers. We got this from regularly artisanal miners. What they bring, you pay. Goldbod does not have a regulation. And this was one of the things we raised in Parliament. And they didn't mind us. They passed the bill at midnight. You see, I said in Parliament that our friends in the majority should not take us for granted. Paul, I can say that my colleagues, the 87 of us, research is what we do. From day one, all the trainings we had, the clear position we took was that, look, we don't have the numbers. Let's do research so that when we are arguing, we'll be well fortified. That is what we've all been doing. And we don't just come out and speak. That is one of the things that make us stand firm, unsoiled, and unshakable. So when I'm talking, I know I am on solid foundation. Before a statement like this comes out, it goes through a process. Our flag bearer would have to look at it. There's a tripod. The flag bearer's office, made up of experts, would have to look at it. The party machinery, with its directorates, with experts, look at it. And we, the caucus, have our colleagues. There are various platforms we debate. Somebody will go, check this data, check this, add that. So we don't just get up and come out and speak anyhow. Because MPP is a conservative party, very careful about its image. It wouldn't want to go out there and somebody will say, fact check, minority is wrong. Anybody who dares to come out to say we are wrong is himself doing mischief. And I submit, because we are on firm grounds. Any media house that will say that minority got something wrong is doing mischief, because that media house will not be doing justice and doing fairness to the whole to the whole process, because we did a lot of work. And what I came out to present was as a result of good, excellent work done. We crossed everything. I wish I took a video to show the back room. When the morning I took the report, I said, no, let me be double sure, because we know the public out there, they will scrutinize. Checked every data, made sure every information. I checked myself with my pen, underline, cross every T, made sure what we were releasing to the public would be unquestionable. So we are not lazy politicians who, because of partisan convenience, will come out there and throw things. We won't do that. I won't risk it. Let me conclude with something that the Goldbod chief executive said. His own report. You see, he was telling Ghanaians that, Auditor General has done audit.
Yes.
And everything is clean. Everything.
They have surplus.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, a book no lie. Mm-hmm. Page 11 of the report that he showed to the public.
The one he was relying upon.
That is correct.
Auditor General.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. Let's read page 11. Responsibility of the Board of Directors for the financial statement. This is what the Auditor General said. Quote, the authorities board is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with International Public Sector Accounting Standard, into bracket IPSAS, Public Financial Management Act of 2016, Act 921, and its enabling regulation 2019, and in a manner required by Goldbod Act 2025, as well as the applicable accounting standard, and for such internal control as the authority determines necessary to enable the preparation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statement, the board is responsible for assessing its ability to continue as a going concern. It goes on and on and on. My point is that if you say the auditors that you are saying that they did an audit, this disclaimer, this is largely a disclaimer by the auditor, telling you that you are responsible for the preparation of your own account, that the report that they analyze, They did not
based
source
on what you give them.
Exactement.
Okay.
Exactement.
So the auditor is saying
So-
that I have finished my work based on what he gave
What
me.
you gave me.
But you, the reader, please
So-
be aware that the report came from them.
Paul, it is good to read, oh.
But is it not a standard audit practice?
No, I'm saying that. So then don't go round to say that the auditor has cleared you, because you see, there are two stages where an auditor comes to you and deals with raw data. Bring me your bank statement, bring me your receipt, purchases, checks. You say you have a property, bring me the land document. Then he's gathering all the data. Then he is doing his own analysis. What this disclaimer is saying is that you are responsible for your report. So, you know the good news? The good news is that with the hearing, the public hearing, we will now demand the primary data and juxtapose it against the management report they gave the Auditor General and ask our questions. We have chartered accountants.
So you're going to turn that into a forensic audit then?
No, we are not talking forensic. We are doing oversight. We are not forensic auditors. What we are saying is that we want to analyze the entire, gold purchase program. It's a policy. The IMF has concluded that the policy has structural inefficiencies leading to these losses. The IMF is saying that the losses are not as a result of economic costs. You recall that my good friend Senyo Hosi in the early days and some others argued in the early days that there is always an economic cost to policy implementation,
yes.
which I have said I agree. There should be some cost, but you have to measure that cost and determine whether or not that cost, juxtapose it against the gains, it is worth going into it. You've analyzed all the risk and all that. My point is that from what IMF is saying, I have not had the benefit of perusing their primary data. I'm relying on the IMF report. They are saying that this thing is not, the losses cannot be as a result of economic costs. So there are some structural challenges, design problems, and Professor Bobkin, Legon, the economics professor, has also reiterated that point, that he thinks that the domestic gold purchase program, which is being spearheaded by the Goldbod, has structural problems and is going to lead to some losses. And if they don't redesign the program and make it viable, it's going to lead us nowhere. They are denying that. So I believe that once Goldbod itself has agreed that there is a need for a transparent oversight by Parliament, and I believe that as he spoke, the majority in Parliament have heard him. The last time we were stampeded. We pray that this time there will be no numerical stampeding where they say they are 189, they whip all of them to deny us the 87th opportunity to go into the books. So we are going to interrogate this, ask questions about the surplus, ask questions about why 2 days to the end of year, they now got the 4-point-something billion cedis. What has happened to it, how that was used, what were the gains, etc., etc. And the Ghanaian people will come to a fair conclusion. We are committed to that. Now let me come to
the question I was asking.
The issue. You see,
I
said it on a very lighter note, but I also mean it. Let me explain again. We are dealing with losses. Once the state incurs a loss in implementing a policy, it is a financial loss to the state. And somebody would have to be responsible for decisions taken there too. Now, I wasn't directly attacking anybody. All right? I was rather stating the fact that, look, today, you in NDC, a lot of my colleagues are under investigation. A lot of former appointees are under investigation. Some of them, as a leader, I know, they say, oh, he took a certain decision the board approved some transaction, and then there's a loss of some 5 million, 10 million, and all of that. I know. Some of them are worried. It's not a crime they've committed, but the state is investigating certain activities leading to losses. They go to Iyoko, and then they are made to post very onerous bail. Some of them, they say, bring 50 million. Bring property worth 100 million. And they sleep in Iyoko for days. I was only drawing their attention that, colleagues, you are in government. Bear in mind that you will make mistakes. It's natural. You are human. In governance, there is no perfection. However hard you try, you will make some mistakes. There will be some decisions you may mean well, but in the end, something may go bad. So think about a China, so that if tomorrow somebody picks something and say, hey, 22 billion, and the state is asking you questions, then they say, okay, yesterday you demanded bail of a certain magnitude, so you should also go and bring 22 billion. I was just, I get it, saying it on a lighter note, but not to specifically somebody has committed a crime. I have to be fair. We have not done. You are not alleging that. We are no. I would be fair, my brother. I would be fair. We are demanding answers until Parliament peruses and comes to a conclusion. It would be unfair for me to call somebody out and say ABC. I must be fair. I am demanding fairness from government. So I needed to make that point to also draw the attention. Because obviously, Paul, the way and manner our friends in government are handling all of us, our colleagues, is bad. I have argued consistently that demand accountability. As for post-regime accountability, nobody can run away from it. You come into government, you take decisions after 4 years, after 8 years, whether you like it or not. Even if it is your own government succeeding itself, there will be some form of accountability. If accountability is not demanded after leaving office, CSOs, the way they are vigilant, will demand accountability even as you are in office. The media will demand accountability. So perhaps accountability must not just be looked at as post-regime, exercise. In all of these, all of us must be careful. So I was only urging my colleagues to be careful, because the way they are treating MPP, I go to Iyoko. Do you think I'm happy going to sit at Iyoko? Sometimes you go and stand there for hours. Some of your colleagues, you need them to come and debate. The time you need them for debate, they are reporting to BNI. I'm not questioning that. All I'm saying is that give the law and its enforcement a human face, so that tomorrow, if anybody is also demanding accountability from you, at least you can use it as a reference point that, when you were in office, you used a human face to implement. But if you are extremely harsh, unreasonable, you make it difficult for moderates in MPP to also argue that, man, sir, Paul, you are sitting here. You know how much effort I made as a majority leader in trying to restrain things. I can't say that in public. I know. All right? I know. Sometimes I feel bad when our friends forget that only yesterday we were all there for them, and we said that even if you are going through difficulty, there must be a human face to it. And our own party bashed us for being too reasonable. So I stand on moral grounds when I'm pointing to them that, guys, after 2 years, President Mahama, 2.5. 2.5. President Mahama is exiting. He's doing his bit. When he leaves, nobody knows how 2028 will go. But if we are political actors, nobody have a large majority. Don't worry. Look, the history of this country should guide every politician. Let me take you back. In the second parliament, where J.H. Mensah came in with his 61 colleagues, NDC had 133, super majority. This is not the first time they are smelling super majority. In just 4 years, the election that brought Kufo, MPP turned its minority into majority, we had 102. Put that aside. Fast forward. In 2012, we had 125. In 2016, we had 169. All right? We thought heavens have opened for us forever. We took things for granted. In just 4 years, we woke up the next day to 137. See how we struggled. The NDC that everybody thought NDC is broken. Oh, they can't come back. Our presidential vote reduced by half. Akufo-Addo won 2016 with over 1 million. In 2020, after all the good things we did, look at COVID, how we spent, the project, free SHS implementation, only to wake up to see that our majority has been reduced to 137. We struggled in parliament. I was deputy majority leader, became majority leader. I know how I struggled. We lost the speakership. Now, Akufo-Addo, it took the grace of God to go through the 4 years. Because parliament, when parliament is strong, no government can, run over parliament.
Now, was thwarted.
Right. Now, today, our friends get the impression that, all is good. 189 there. Ebi wom. 189 is ebi wom pa. These people, they can't defeat us. It's okay. I am telling them that be measured how you maltreat us. If today you are insulting Afenyo Markin, using unprintable words on my person, hiring social media people going to sit at studios of FM stations, TV stations, use vulgar language. The very thing that if you give them a snap, a Bible, a Quran to swear, whether it is true, they cannot. They are saying it for politics. I won't question you. I won't say anything. I won't sue you. But bear in mind that which you cherish melts. That one day, that is why in a noble society that I'm familiar with, it says that though distinctions amongst men exist to preserve subordination, ought no eminence of situation make you forget that we are brothers. For he who is placed at the lowest ebb of fortune's wheel is equally entitled to our regard. As a time will come, the wisest of men knows not how soon, when all distinctions, save those of goodness and mercy, a virtue, shall cease, and death, the grand leveler of all human, I lost the line, shall reduce us to the same state. Now, today you are in office. If yesterday I misconducted myself and disrespected my friends in opposition, I wouldn't have the moral authority to call and say, bro, you are wrong. I honored them. I respected them. They know. Sometimes they can't say it publicly, but they know that Afenyo Markin respects brotherhood. I respect a code. I don't dishonor friendship. We are doing politics. I'm the minority leader. I will do my work. But in so doing, I have due regard for your office. So if you think today you have the power, abuse me, it's okay. I won't go to court. I won't say anything bad. You can say that, you undermining me and say whatever. J.H. Mensah went through worse. Che Mensah Bones went through worse. My brother are too forcing. Sometimes, I know who are mobile. Minority leader. It's not an easy office. Minority leader. Sometimes you can be lonely. When everything is going round, you have to do the heavy lifting. I'm ready to do heavy lifting for this party, MPP. My stepfather fought for the party. My mom fought for the party. My daddy suffered for the party. And it's my turn. I will fight for the party with a clear mind. And I will shake. What we are telling the people of Ghana about these losses is the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. We expect the NDC to be reasonable in coming, eat humble pie, and admit that indeed policy failures resulted in this, so that perhaps we can look at the way forward. But to be attacking us, I will stay there, deal with the issues, and pursue it. However lonely I may become, I am doing this for the party, and the right thing will be done. Thank you very much.
Whilst you're here, Alex Markin, very articulate as usual, but this is quite an emotional Alex Markin presentation. Let's preserve our politics. That's all we have. Alex Segbefia said the law is all we have. Let's preserve it. Let me get your attention for the National Identification Authority and business institutions, service providers. The National Identification Authority wishes to inform the public and all institutions that a new law, LI 2523, has introduced important changes to how the Ghana card identities are verified. Under the new requirement, biometric verification is now the principal means of confirming the identity of a Ghana card holder. So what does this mean? Do not rely only on the photograph or physical appearance of the person presenting a Ghana card. Where the biometric verification is required, you must use the NIA approved biometric verification system. You should also not photocopy, scan, retain copies or images of the Ghana card or rely on ocular or visual inspection alone. Please take note, carrying out verification through unauthorized copies or ocular inspection is an offense under LI 2523 and is punishable by penalties of up to 2,000 penalty units for a body corporate and up to 1,000 penalty units for a partnership or other undertaking, payable by each partner or responsible person. If your institution or business or agency identifies, then take the next step and onboard onto the NLA identification verification platform. The transition period for institutions to onboard runs from 27th of July to 2nd November 2026, but institutions are encouraged to start their compliance preparations now. The changes are designed to strengthen identity security, prevent impersonation. For more information, please visit the identification@nia.gov.gh. ID verification at nia.gov.gh or call the NIA today on 0302 999 306 0302 999 306. Maybe the NIA should come in for an interview then.
So Gustiman says it's worrying to see some NDC communicators maintain the same arrogance and disrespect even after gaining power. Erica J, who once labeled Nanado as a connection man and attacked him relentlessly, is now on radio threatening the minority leader. This raises a serious question. Is this the political culture we want to hand over to the next generation? Politics should be about ideas, accountability, and service, not insult, intimidation, and personal attacks. When young people watch political communicators behaving this way, many talented and decent people will simply conclude that politics is not a place for them. I have one in town saying, I think it's about time the NPP rise up to these guys and defend our minority leader with all our might. From our sundry, it looks Sammy Gyamfi has surrounded himself with a lot of things and nobody will stop at nothing to go toe-to-toe and bunkers with anyone who dare take him on. And once his ego is touched, they come at you with brute force. Master Planner Jr. from Kentampo comes again to say the next NDC party in opposition with minority in parliament will face very serious challenges due to the precedents they are setting. Kudos to Honorable Afenyo Markin and the mighty minority. Isaac Kojo says every literate Ghanaian must take interest in the reading of the IMF reports. Civil society and labor unions in particular must not sit unconcerned. Ghana belongs to all of us, and it's our collective duty to pay attention to such critical national service. And lastly, coming from eBay Affair, says Honorable Afenyo Markin should remain resolute and know that he has unflinching support. He should keep up the good work and ignore those personal attacks from that immature Sammy Gyamfi. What do you have for us, Akia?
Thank you very much, Fatih. This is coming from Sammy Boache from Asaman Kese. He says, today, Sammy Gyamfi and the NDC replied to legitimate questions that Ghanaians raised on accountability with insults. So, this $1.7 billion is incurred by whom? IMF or Goldbod? Ghanaians want to know. Mahama has failed and disappointed the good people of Ghana when it comes to the implementation of their own flagship policy. How can you sell gold and lose with this whooping $1.7 billion on gargantuan dollars? Only the NDC established the economy on paper. What has changed today? We are still asking questions about the 24-hour economy, Women's Bank automatic posting, the cancellation of the licensure exam, the construction of the boreholes across the cocoa farms in Ghana as we speak. The electricity bill has increased, the water bill has been increased, fuel prices and many more. The system is hot. Power is temporary. 2028 is just around the corner. Regards to Dr. Baumia, the next president, Nana Boache, Justin Kudia Frempong, and Hajia Safia Mohammed. Nana also says, Paul, JDM told the whole nation that nobody sells gold and incurs losses. With the current price of gold, Sammy must therefore be making a profit rather than the 1.7 billion loss reported incurred by the Goldbod. How is that possible? Ghanaians deserve a clear explanation. Nana Boachi says, good evening, Paul. It is interesting, surprising, and certainly nauseating to see how the NDC is shaking and has activated all its noisy arsenals to defend Sammy Gyamfi. Afenyo, keep pressing them. We are behind you. This is also coming from Ajiwudin Nana Jumo. He says, if Sammy Gyamfi has answers to the issues raised by the IMF, then he should write to the IMF and challenge the accuracy of the statement. On the Goldbod Bank of Ghana controversy, who exactly is responsible for the reported 22 billion losses? Sammy Gyamfi must be very careful with the explanations and provide clear answers to these difficult questions, rather than shifting the blame. Ghanaians deserve the full truth, transparency, and accountability. Finally, coming from Nana Ampim, he says, happy birthday to the most charming and adorable woman, the incoming First Lady of Ghana in 2029, Hajia Samira Baumia. Enjoy your evening, ma'am. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. About Alex Creason, he says, the NDC have turned the politics into a game of insult and disrespect to the elderly. Soon we shall match them boot for boot. They are not factual, they always shift subject. How Sammy Gyamfi turns the issues to target and attack the vulnerable Afenyo Markin is such a shame to us as the youth. Sir, please, you're right. The real essence of the gold for oil being short-term intervention has been misplaced. They renamed it Goldbod and think it can be a forever solution. They don't just get it at all. Now they don't want to take the losses from failures, but want to take the praises as well. Funny. Leader, we the MPP youth and the youth of Ghana really love what you are doing. Keep it up, honorable leader. Bennett Dancer says the Honorable Afenyo Markin and the Minority Caucus shouldn't despair despite the deliberate attempts by the NDC babies with sharp teeth to insult them. They should continue putting the president and his appointees on their toes. Today, there is a revelation from Mustafa is that the appointees have started getting rich. My advice for them is that as they are getting rich, they should also prepare themselves for the day of accountability when the tables definitely turn. This one also says, Apostle Paul, we're watching you live. From Hajizi, he says, Sammy Gyamfi thinks the office he's occupying is his family's entity. Whatever he does, nobody has the right to question him. Just a couple of years ago, he was all over the rivers holding press conferences. So what has changed? The Ghanaians cannot question him now. The same Ghanaians he manages their taxes. Nana also says, for the last several months, Ghanaians have died in car accidents in the Accra Kumasi Highway, yet the minister, the president, or even his spokesperson has made no mention publicly or consoled the family members. We all witnessed how Nanado was hounded by the NDC for every single mishap during his tenure. What is good for the goose is definitely good for the gender. Lastly, from Mohammed, he says, I don't understand why NPP communicators are so soft when official issues like this come up, making it look as if Sammy Gyamfi and his NDC are tin gods above questioning and own the monopoly to insults. Back to you, Paul.